fellow creators, welcome guys. I hope you're having a beautifully, phenomenally blessed day. Thank you for joining me for a moment with yours truly in the prophecy visions that I've had. So today I am going to go down the rabbit hole with this prophecy vision that I had, which is kind of, it's just interesting, that's all. So hold on to your seats, folks, because here we go. But please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Set that notification bell so you always know what's coming up next. I've got plenty of other videos and entertainment on my channel, things to help you embrace the true you and not be afraid to stick out like a sore thumb in society, which we already do anyways, okay? So with that being said, let's go ahead and get on down to the topic at hand. And yeah, so this vision took me back into your childhood. Your entire family was there. Your siblings, if you have any, your mom, your dad, your grandparents, everybody was there, okay? And this doesn't matter, like, whatever situation you were raised up in, it's just that this is indicative of how many people knew about what was going on and you did not, all right? And I'm bringing this up as a trigger moment, and this is not for you to get upset at your family. Okay, so first and foremost, what came up is that before we get into the subject, start considering a strategy on how you can find out the information for yourself, okay? I was there, and I was with a brother, and there was a lot of animosity towards one another. It was kind of like irritated. You were irritated with your brother. It could be a sister as well. This is just the vision that showed me, right? So take it as it resonates for you. But you're irritated with your sibling because you felt like they didn't do anything, but they got everything, okay? And you kind of felt like the oddball out in the family. And there was a lot of energy that was flying around in the room. It was like there was a lot of sweets that were involved. There was a lot of you not eating the sweets and they were eating the sweets. And so just showing the addiction that was had in your family, right? This is like old time addiction that has passed down. That's what, to me, sweets are always talking about addiction, because sugar is a very addictive substance, right? And so what ended up happening is that you were on the floor doing whatever it is that you do, and suddenly a fox appeared telling you to intelligently move forward with what it is that you now know. There is a need to be very precise in the steps that you take moving forward. So you can't just jump in and tell everybody that you know something, because this has been a lifetime lie, okay? This has been it was devised by the older generations to keep from you so that you just didn't know. Like, I feel like it felt like it was some sort of plight against the family in if you knew this, okay? And don't worry, I'm going to get to what it is. So that's why it's so important for you to take the necessary steps to not only protect yourself, but to protect your family, because understanding that they did this out of love, what they knew to be love. They did this out of that for you, for the safety of yourself, and to keep you from finding out what could potentially have come if you knew, okay? So again, and this is a very, the emotions that are coming with this is just kind of like the how could you, and there's a lot of resistance here, and there's a lot of want to go and yell and scream at the family members about this. And it's not going to solve anything, because what's done is done. So your mother, or the divine feminine in your life, worked a night shift, and she worked a lot. She worked a lot to provide for you. Your father was and wasn't around. It was weird, because I got a split message from this. Like, in some instances, he was around and he was the one that, you know, took care of the house, was kind of like a stay-at-home dad kind of energy. And then there was a point where the dad just kind of left and he wasn't nowhere to be found. Okay? And I'll tell you why he left, and I'll tell you what came about from it. But your mom was so exhausted that she couldn't sleep. Like, she was purely exhausted to the point of not being able to rest any longer. It was like her body was so tired that it couldn't rest. Her mind was so tired that it couldn't rest. It was just, everything was constantly going. And she tried very, very hard not to take that out on you. But it was hard for her to not take it out on you. So instead, she took it out on the father. And there was, at one point, your grandmother was there, and she was trying to help your mom go to sleep. So your grandma was trying to help your mom go to sleep, and your mom was very reluctant to go to sleep. So this could be indicative of just how much was on her mind all the time. And you knew as a child how much she went through, how much she suffered through, and how much just weighed on her energetically, emotionally, and spiritually. And so I got this image of your mom sleeping on the floor, and the reason she was sleeping on the floor is because she didn't want to be near your dad, because there was some kind of disconnect there. And even if your parents stayed together your whole life, just understanding that there was an emotional disconnect between them, and that's symbolic of her sleeping on the floor and not wanting to be around your father. And she ended up this is really weird, but she didn't want to hurt him, but she couldn't stand it anymore. And so he came in and he wouldn't leave her alone. He was trying to really help her, but the only way that he could have helped her was just to leave her alone, and he didn't realize that. And so she lashed out at him, and she told him, "I went to sleep with another man." And he was very hurt by that, very, very hurt by that. And that's when the grandmother came in, and she was very much in this situation of trying to keep it under wraps, because you had walked in and heard this. And I feel like this is a suspicion that you've had for a very long time. You didn't know, but you were wondering. And that's why I said there's a very careful and precise way that you should approach this situation. But it could very well be that the man that you thought was your father might not be your biological father. Okay? That doesn't make him any less or any more your father than what he was. Okay? That doesn't make the situation any more different than what it was. There are some emotional feelings that will arise, though, within you, and that is frightening. Okay? And that is very frightening. And this is for those of you that have had an inkling about this for some time. And there's a friend that you used to hang out with a lot in order to run away from your home. And that friend made themselves apparent there. And what also showed was that those of you that did have the father in your life, the person who took care of you, he's loyal. He's very loyal to you. He's very loyal to you. And he was sad that he couldn't create a more stable situation. And emotionally and spiritually, it didn't make him love you any less, even if he did know that you weren't his biologically. He still stepped up to the plate. And so there is this sense that some of you, if you're capable or able to try and get a DNA test, but you have to go about it silently and very, very carefully. Because if you drop this on people's shoulders, it will cause a rift in the family that does not need to be there. At this point, you're an adult, and yes, you deserve to know. And if for some reason, it was just a fear that your mom had because she maybe had a slip, and that was it, but you're still the biological child of your father, which could very well be. But this is for those of you that have thought and nobody has told you, and it's because there was a lot of adults that were involved in this, and as a group they made a decision not to tell you because they didn't want it to make you feel already more as an outcast than you were. And this can explain why some of you felt very much like the black sheep in your family, because there was a secret that was held over your head for a very, very long time, and it's still being held over your head. So I bring this up because this is not a place for you to get upset about. This is not a place for you to take it out on them. They were trying to do this for your well-being, and even if they treated you differently, they were still trying to do it for your well-being, and they physically did not know that they were treating you differently. They didn't know. They couldn't see it with their own eyes. So it was something that they did because they thought it would protect you, and more importantly, unfortunately, they thought it was going to protect their family, the family name, the family honor, I guess is what you could say. So this friend that was in your dream, it just showed that that's a lot of times you really would just use them as an excuse to get away, and they were okay with that. I think that this friend knew that for a very long time. They knew that they were just kind of your escape from reality, and so they used you as the same escape from their own reality. So you guys might not even talk anymore. You might not even be around each other anymore. It was just, it came in showing that you did have somebody supporting you at some of the worst times in your life. Even if you didn't feel like they were supporting you, they were still there. And again, it always brings me back to the father in the situation. Whoever was around, they were still loyal to you. They cared about you. They loved you. It's not like because you were somebody else's that they didn't want to love you. No, they loved you with all their heart, and they did the best that they could. And understanding that sometimes that's just a difficult situation. It's not your fault because you were a child. You were an innocent in the situation. But as for the family, I can't say that they're at fault or they're not. However, it is encouraging you to find a way to strategically go about trying to find out if this is true or not, and maybe finding out your own lineage. There might be more about your ancestral lineage than you currently know. And so there's a deep sense, again, I will always bring this up with these prophecy visions that I have. It's forgiveness is key. Okay, forgiveness is the main point in all of this. You can't just start being mad at people and taking it out on people because, again, they did what they thought was best for you. And I'm sure you've made decisions in your own life where you did what you thought was best for the situation, and it might not have turned out that way, right? It doesn't make you any more or less a good or a bad person, right? It just makes you human, and that's exactly what happened in this situation. They were being human, and oftentimes it's out of our fear that we'll make a decision that we think is best, and it's really not because it's being led by fear, and that's scary, right? And if you're anywhere near my age, you understand that 30 plus years ago that to have situations like that would tarnish women's names, and it could put them in a very precarious position. Whereas now you see a lot of single mothers who are growing up, and I feel like many of you did deal with a single mother, but the man that they said was your father wasn't. So I just want you to know it's not something to be mad at your mom about. It's not something to be mad at anybody about. However, you do need to take time and space to deal with the feelings that arise once you find out. And even if you have feelings before you find out, deal with those first. So that way you don't go blazing into the situation run by your emotions, because we've all done that, okay? But I hope that this helps, and I hope that this gives confirmation to those of you that were wondering if you were the blood of your father. I hope this is giving you confirmation that, yes, your intuition was telling you correctly, and as scary as that is, because I feel like this deep-seated fear from that, it's just bringing it back up so that you can deal with that fear, and then understanding that it's okay, because you were still loved and cared for. Even if it wasn't the best of the best of the best childhood, you had a roof over your head, you had food on your table, and you had people who looked out for you, and that is what matters more than anything, okay? So this is what I have for you guys. Please like this video, share this video, subscribe to my channel down below, set that notification bell so you'll always know when the next video does go live. And until next time, go forth boldly, my fellow creators, and courageously find creative ways to rise above in life, laughter, and love. Until we meet each other again. Mwah. Peace out. I love y'all. Bye.